Imagine this. You've just absolutely nailed it. Biggest client ever, maybe. Or that big risk you took paid off. Huge.
Yeah.
And you feel that rush, right? That feeling like, wow, I just can't fail. We always think that feeling, the racing heart, the buzz. It's just a reaction, a side effect of the smart thing we did.
Right, like the body's just tagging along after the brain made the clever decision.
Exactly. But what if that's backwards? What if that physical feeling, that adrenaline, wasn't the result, but actually the cause of what you do next?
The driver, yeah.
Yeah.
Pushing you maybe towards being reckless 1 minute and then totally freezing you up the next.
That is precisely what we are digging into today. It's the core idea in this really fascinating book by John Coates.
Ah, the hour between dog and wolf. Risk-taking, gut feelings, and the biology of boom and bust.
That's the one. And Coates' background is key here, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't just like an academic studying the stuff from afar. He lived it. High-stakes Wall Street trader. Yeah, he felt all that intensity, the physical roller coaster of the markets, in his own body. And it actually pushed him out of finance.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, he went back to school, became a neuroscientist at Cambridge, basically to figure out what on earth was happening to him and everyone else under that kind of pressure.
Okay, so he's got the street cred and the lab cred, and this title, The Hour Between Dog and Wolf. It's pretty evocative. What's the story there?
It's this old French phrase, l'heure entre chien et loup. It means twilight. That murky time when the light's fading and you see something in the distance.
And you can't quite tell.
Exactly. Is the familiar shape of your loyal dog safe, predictable, or is it something wild, dangerous, a wolf?
Okay, so that uncertainty, that moment of potential transformation.
That's the metaphor for what happens inside us when the calm, rational you, the dog, suddenly shifts under pressure into something more aggressive, more instinct-driven, the wolf.
Got it. So our mission today is basically to unpack that transformation, how these biological forces, these hormones, can hijack our rational thinking.
Precisely. And specifically, how two key hormones drive these huge swings, the booms and the busts, whether that's in global finance or, just in our own lives.
All right, let's dive in. Where do we start? The boom seems like a good place. Testosterone, the winner's hormone.
Yeah, let's start there. Coates talks a lot about the winner effect, and it's almost instantaneous. You have a success, win a trade, land a contract, whatever. Your body gets a jolt of testosterone. It's this ancient biological thing wired for competition. And here's the kicker. The more you win,
The more testosterone you get.
right, your baseline actually starts to creep up. And this isn't just a guy thing. It happens to everyone.
Okay, but wait. Winning should make you feel good, feel confident, right? How do we know this isn't just rational optimism? Like, hey, I'm doing well, the data looks good.
That's the crucial question. And the answer is testosterone does more than just boost confidence. It fundamentally changes how you perceive risk. Coates suggests it acts almost like, biological beer goggles, but for risk. Suddenly, things that look really dangerous from a neutral standpoint, they start to look small, totally manageable, even exciting. You actively want to take on more risk.
Okay, I can see how that applies beyond just trading floors. Like the manager who's had 3 projects hit it big, and now they're pushing for something really out there, ignoring the warning signs.
Exactly. That feeling of being untouchable, smarter than everyone else, maybe even invincible.
That's the wolf.
That's the wolf emerging. You're sharp, you're focused, yes, but you're also dangerously overconfident. And imagine a whole group of people, a trading desk, an executive team, all riding that same testosterone high together.
Right. That's how you get bubbles. Groupthink fueled by biology.
Collective irrational exuberance, driven by this hormonal surge. People start ignoring flashing red lights because chemically they feel bulletproof.
Okay, so that covers the climb, the boom, the wolf getting bolder, but inevitably, things turn. What happens biologically when the winning stops and the losses start?
That's when the other shoe drops, chemically speaking anyway. Cortisol enters the picture.
The stress hormone.
Primary stress hormone,
Yeah.
When you start taking hits, losing money, facing setbacks, your body interprets that as a serious threat. It triggers a survival response.
And that feeling, I think everyone knows that feeling, that pit in your stomach, the anxiety, and maybe you can't even think straight.
That is cortisol. That visceral dread is your biology screaming, danger, retreat. And its effects are basically the polar opposite of testosterone.
So if testosterone is the accelerator for risk,
Cortisol is the emergency brake. But it often slams on way too hard. It ramps up pessimism, crushes your appetite for any kind of risk, even sensible risk. It makes you anxious, timid, fearful.
Coates mentions this can lead to something called learned helplessness. What does that actually look like in a real-world crisis situation?
It looks like freezing. Instead of thinking clearly, adapting, maybe cutting losses strategically, the person is just overwhelmed by the cortisol, by the fear.
So they just do nothing.
Either they freeze entirely, paralyzed, unable to act,
Mm-hmm.
or they do the opposite. They panic. They just want the awful feeling to stop, so they sell everything, often right at the bottom, locking in the worst possible losses.
Wow. So the aggressive wolf transforms back into this terrified dog, just wanting to run and hide.
Precisely. And here's the really scary part. It's not just a simple switch up and down. It's a feedback loop.
A feedback loop. How does that work?
Well, think about it. Winning brings on testosterone, which makes you take bigger risks.
Right. Setting you up for a potential fall.
Exactly. And when that fall happens, losing brings on cortisol, which makes you intensely risk-averse.
Meaning you're likely to bail out at the worst time, maybe missing the recovery.
Yes, your own body chemistry is effectively trapping you in this cycle of irrationality, pushing you to buy high, fueled by testosterone, and sell low, driven by cortisol.
So the rational part of your brain, the part that should be making calculated decisions,
Yeah.
it's basically being chemically hijacked right when you need it the most.
That's Coates' central argument. Your ability to think clearly gets overwhelmed by these ancient biological survival circuits that are just reacting, often inappropriately, to modern stressors like market movements.
So he's saying major financial crises aren't just about bad math or poor policy. They're partly biological events.
Fundamentally biological, driven by these collective hormonal tides sweeping through populations of decision makers.
That's a radical way to look at it. Okay, this is huge. Let's bring it back to the listener. If our biology is playing such a big role, maybe even running the show sometimes, what can we actually do about it? What are the takeaways here?
The biggest one, I think, is just becoming aware. Really tuning into your own physical state before you make a high-stakes decision.
Like recognizing the feeling.
Exactly. When you feel that incredible rush, that king of the world overconfidence after a string of successes, maybe you nail 3 presentations in a row.
Yeah.
Recognize that feeling itself is biological. It's the testosterone surge. And it's not a sign you're infallible. It's actually a warning sign.
A signal to be more careful, not less.
Precisely. Don't trust the feeling that you're suddenly a genius. Treat it like a yellow light. And conversely,
When the dread hits, that gut-wrenching anxiety.
recognize that too. That's the cortisol talking. Your judgment is clouded, likely skewed towards excessive pessimism. So you have to ask yourself, am I reacting to the facts or am I reacting to this chemical fear signal?
Okay, self-awareness is step 1. What's next? Can we actually influence these chemical tides?
Well, yes, indirectly. This brings us to takeaway number 2. Manage your body to help manage your mind. Coates really stresses this. Physical well-being isn't just, nice to have.
It's functional.
It's critical for mental resilience, for hormonal regulation. If you're chronically sleep deprived, if your blood sugar's all over the place from bad eating habits, if you're not moving your body,
You're basically setting yourself up for failure.
you're inviting chemical chaos, is how we might put it. You're making yourself much more vulnerable to these extreme hormonal swings. You can't expect clear, rational thought if the underlying biology is unstable.
So, going to the gym, eating properly, getting enough sleep, it's not just health stuff. It's actually a form of risk management for your decision-making.
Absolutely. Protecting yourself from your own potential hormonal hijacking. Which leads very neatly into the third key takeaway. Create rules before the storm hits. If you know your future self is likely to get compromised by testosterone highs or cortisol lows.
The rationally needs to lay down the law beforehand.
Exactly. Make the critical decisions when you are calm, collected, rational when you're the dog. Set clear, objective rules.
Like what kind of rules?
Things like specific price points where you will sell an investment no matter how good you feel, or absolute walkaway points in a negotiation, decided in advance, hard limits.
So these rules act like an anchor, protecting you from the impulsive wolf or the terrified dog you might become later.
That's the idea. It's about building guardrails for your future self. It's a really disciplined way to manage the inevitable biological interference.
This really reframes things, doesn't it? Success isn't just about being smart in the moment. It's also about understanding our own animal nature.
It forces you to accept we aren't just these detached logical brains floating around. We're biological creatures, deeply influenced by ancient systems that evolved for very different environments than a trading screen or a boardroom.
Yeah.
And the insight here is that to really thrive under pressure, you have to understand that animal within, as Coates puts it. You have to work with your biology, not pretend it doesn't exist. Ignoring it just means you're doomed to repeat those boom and bust cycles.
So, okay, final thought for everyone listening. The next time the pressure's on, the stakes feel incredibly high, and you feel that physical shift, the quickening pulse, or maybe that sudden wave of confidence, or even dread. Just pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, really ask, who is actually calling the shots right now? Is it the loyal dog of reason, or is it the wild wolf of instinct riding that chemical wave?